Step out into any busy street today, and you will see a society operating entirely on the defensive. We live in a high-pressure environment where showing vulnerability is treated as a liability, and most of us are walking around bracing against the current. We have convinced ourselves that true strength requires absolute invulnerability. We treat it as a posture of dominance, operating under the assumption that to be strong means walking through life with your claws permanently out. To survive this perceived battlefield, we force ourselves to build and carry heavy emotional armor every single day. We practice a casual cynicism to avoid getting our hopes up. We project coldness so people won't ask too much of us. And we scan completely routine interactions as if they are potential threats we need to neutralize. We usually succeed in protecting ourselves, but that lifelong warrior mindset is exhausting. We arrive at the end of the day heavily defended, but completely disconnected from any real human vitality. If you examine that rigid posturing closely, you don't find bravery. You find a deep, unacknowledged terror. Treating the world as a constant battlefield is actually a sophisticated psychological mechanism to hide our fear of getting hurt. To avoid risk, our minds act like this glowing central node, building rigid barriers to block incoming strikes. But the very walls built to protect the core ultimately restrict all movement. Once locked into place, maximum defense guarantees total immobilization. To find actual bravery, we have to abandon the architecture of the fortress entirely and look directly at the terrifying vulnerability of the human heart. Over the centuries, our modern definition of courage has drifted far away from its original meaning. This 15th century manuscript illustrates the literal truth of the word. Courage originates directly from the Latin root cor, which translates to the heart. There is a mechanical shift that happens when natural human fire and vitality are channeled into the heart. They do not turn into aggression, and they don't produce a desire to conquer. Instead, that energy transforms into warmth. It fuels our capacity for deep human contact, empathy, and the ability to be playful. Choosing to keep your heart open and warm in a highly cynical world requires vastly more raw power than simply shutting down. We can see a clear baseline for real physical power in the natural world. Look at this male lion resting calmly in the grass. We tend to project our own anxieties onto apex predators, but the strongest animal in the wild doesn't spend its day tense and ready to strike. False strength is defined by rigidity and constant anxiety. True strength is defined by flexibility and the ability to rest. A deep, secure understanding of one's own power allows for profound gentleness. Here, we see a lioness affectionately grooming her cub. It is visual proof that absolute apex power easily coexists with tender affection. Human beings possess that exact same flexibility. Underneath the armor, we are naturally warm, contact-oriented creatures. We only suppress our natural tenderness because we falsely equated an open heart with mortal danger. In the process, we have forgotten our inherent power. So, what does a heroic act actually look like in our daily lives? It rarely involves a physical conquest. True heroism happens quietly, in the relational spaces between people. It is the terrifying decision to take an emotional risk. It's the willingness to look someone in the eye and be the first to admit fault. It is the raw nerve required to take a deep breath and say, "I love you," without any guarantee they will say it back. It is the quiet heroism of choosing to be kind and warm in a situation where being cold would offer you an easier, safer escape route. Standing completely undefended in front of another person and saying, "I love you and I protect you," is the absolute highest expression of human strength. Pull back from the theory for a moment and look at the immediate reality of your own life and your own relationships. Hiding behind emotional armor is not a strategy for survival. It is a choice to escape life rather than truly live it. There is a specific place in your life right now where love is waiting for an act of courage. Because when you finally put the armor down, you realize that the quiet, monumental strength to love is the only true translation of courage.